Okay, good. So welcome to Sunday Poetry of Enlightenment. And today we are going to be looking into Antonio Machado. Antonio Machado was a Spanish poet who lived around the same time as our friend Rainer Maria Rilke. And in fact, they were both born the same year. They were born 1875. And Machado lived several years longer because you may recall Rilke had bad health for most of his life. So they were both in that same generation around the end of the 19th century when there was a lot of turmoil in culture and religion and the arts and so forth. And Machado really is, in a lot of ways, kind of very much like a Spanish Rilke. He seems to have had no particular background in, Eastern Dharma teachings, but just through his sensitivity as a poet, he seems to have tuned into a lot of the same things, found a lot of the same regions of human experience that, if all goes well, we find through Dharma practice, through meditative practice. So let me pull up our first poem. Okay, so you can all see this one. Has my heart gone to sleep? Good. Has my heart gone to sleep? Have the beehives of my dreams stopped working? The water wheel of the mind run dry? Scoops turning empty, only shadow inside? No, my heart is not asleep. It is awake, wide awake, not asleep, not dreaming. Its eyes are opened wide, watching distant signals, listening on the rim of vast silence. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read that again. Are you all seeing some Spanish I just pulled up on the screen?
No.
No, okay. All right, hang on. Okay, here's the same poem here. You're seeing this now? Okay, so here's the same poem I just read. I want to read it in Spanish in the original because it's really beautiful. So you've got the Spanish here and the English here. Mi corazón se ha dormido, colmenares de mis sueños ya no labráis. Está seca la noria del pensamiento, los cangilones vacíos, girando de sombra llenos. No, mi corazón no duerme, está despierto, despierto, ni duerme ni sueña. Mira los claros ojos abiertos, señas lejanas y escucha a orillos del gran silencio. Liliana, how'd I do there? Was I okay? Does that sound okay? Okay.
Wonderful.
Oh, good.
Right.
I suddenly remembered there's an actual Spanish speaker here, and it made me feel a little bit shy about that.
Oh, very good.
Okay. How's the translation look to you, Liliana? Okay. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I had never seen it in English, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whose translation is it? It's pretty good.
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
I'll check it. So, has my heart gone to sleep? Mi corazón se ha dormido. What is that question about? You know, what would prompt that question?
He didn't get excited when he saw something beautiful, someone beautiful.
Ah, something beautiful or someone beautiful, perhaps. Yeah. It's like, hey guys, you still working in there? Checking in with the little hamsters that that run around on the wheels. Actually, that's not far off from uh, some of the images here. Have the beehives of my dream stopped working? The water wheel of the water wheel. I would guess this is like, you know, a mill wheel that's turned by the river or the stream. You know, you get next to a mill house to turn the grinding stone, right? So not far off from the idea of little hamsters running around inside making all this machinery work.
To me, it's also that, like, has my heart gone to sleep? Like, am I just so sort of caught up in just my, you know, responsibilities and my this and that I'm no longer sort of listening to my heart, listening to my dreams.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. 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 Am I missing in engaging with all the necessary stuff? Have I missed the important stuff? Yeah.
I mean, there's a darkness there, though, that Scoop's turning empty, only shadow inside.
Yeah. See, and this makes me wonder, this makes me strongly suspect that, like, everything we've been saying here for a couple of minutes may be there in the poem, but that there's also something else, which you're right, that shadow inside at the end of the first stanza kind of really leads into him going deeper into this other thing in the second stanza. No, my heart is not asleep. It is awake, wide awake. Okay. Now, this is a thing you've all been in our meditation sessions, especially when we have a new person there. And, you know, afterward, we ask about their experience and they go, gee, I think maybe I fell asleep. Right. And then we start to cross-examine them. You know, well, did your head fall down? Did you? He said, yeah, you were still there somewhere talking in the background, but what, right? And what you find out is that they didn't fall asleep. They fell awake, right? They fell into, you know, technically turiya. They fell into the fourth state, the wakeful hypometabolic state, you know, where the mind is settled into silence. Relative to in terms of the outside world, we could say it's settled into darkness, right? Because we're not experiencing the colors in the room. We're not experiencing, or at least we're not engaged with the sounds and the thoughts that may all be there in the background, but we've kind of, you know, settled down beneath it into a place that we could call dark, but it's without any of the, you know, the pejorative, negative associations that we often have with that word dark. So, no, my heart is not asleep. It is, and also, by the way, this brings us to another level of the, and Liliana, I want to ask you about this. The word corazón, right? Straightforward translation, heart. In English, usually when we use, well, often in English, depending on the context, when we use the word heart, we're talking in terms of love, romance, appreciation. But we also have the meaning of, like, you know, the heart of the matter, the heart of things, the core, right? And in fact, there's that same root, the core. Now, does corazón have that meaning as well in Spanish?
Well, yeah, it could, but mostly what I interpreted is as my sensitivity,
Right.
awareness of my senses.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That for sure seems to be the presenting meaning of it. But in poetry, I mean, we've seen this over and over. Part of what makes poetry is because it's so compressed, so telegraphic, that will often have 2 or 3 or 4 levels of meaning packed into one line or one word.
I would say it's pretty much like in English, yes.
Like in English. Yeah, good. Thank you. So, no, my heart is not asleep. No, mi corazón no duerme. Está despierto, despierto. It's awake, awake. Right? Not asleep, not dreaming. Ni duerme, ni sueña. Mira. And mira means, right, like look, right? Like lo and behold. Is that right? Am I reading?
I would say my heart is looking.
Yeah.
My heart is aware.
My heart is looking. It's seeing. Yes.
Yeah,
Los claros ojos abiertos. Its eyes are opened wide.
It's interesting that in the English they don't
Yes. Didn't
say
translate.
the mira.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't get this, and we don't get claros either.
it is watching. It's
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. We get so it's like my eyes, the eyes of my face may not be open, but the eyes of my heart are open. Right? They're open wide. Señas lejanas. They have watching distant signals.
There's the watching.
Yes, there's watching. They got moved down into this line.
Down there.
Yeah. So, señas, signs, and lejanas, far away, right? Y escucha, and then this is so beautiful. Y escucha, listening, a orillas del gran silencio, on the rim of vast silence. That's transcendence, my friends. I don't care what anybody says. That's the heart that looks like it's asleep, but no, it may be asleep it's not paying attention to stuff on the outside, but it's wide awake on the inside. This guy clearly must to describe that with such precision and such beautiful delicacy. You can't dream that up. You can only do that if you've experienced this.
What I get is the vastness of the silence, because where it talks about the distant signals, that immediately opens the listening up to the something so big, so the dimension of it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. That gives you the vastness. And then, so it's not just some little pocket of silence here. First, it establishes the vastness, and then we get the silence of it. Yeah. I mean, that's samadhi. When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, that's samadhi. Yeah, boy, that's great. Yeah, I mean, that's all we need from this guy. That's he's made his contribution, but there's more. Anything else? Any other thoughts or observations on this poem? Okay, let me move to another one. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're all seeing this? Traveler, there is no path?
Yes.
Okay. And I was not able to find a full translation, a full Spanish original of this one, but I found some Spanish of a section of it. So we'll go to that in a couple of minutes here. Everything passes on and everything remains. But our lot is to pass on, to go on making paths across the sea. I never sought glory, nor to leave my song in the memory of man. I love those subtle worlds, weightless and graceful as bubbles of soap.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I like to watch as they paint themselves in sunlight and scarlet, floating beneath the blue sky, trembling suddenly, then popping. I never sought glory. Traveler, your footprints are the path and nothing more. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. By walking, the path is made. And when you look back, you'll see a road never to be trodden again. Traveler, there is no path, only trails across the sea. Some time passed in that place where today the forests are dressed in barbs. A poet was heard to cry, traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking, beat by beat, verse by verse. The poet died far from home. He lies beneath the dust of a neighboring land. As he walked away, he was seen to weep. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking, beat by beat, verse by verse. When the goldfinch cannot sing, when the poet is a pilgrim, when prayer will do us no good, traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking, beat by beat, verse by verse. Okay. So let's take our shoes off and run through this. First line, bam. Everything passes on and everything remains. Discuss. Please.
Well, that seems obvious.
Yeah. It's not obvious to a lot of people, but you know, we're a group of Dharma dogs here. So it's, but yeah, everything, yeah. Kind of everything's changing all the time. Kind of everything goes away, never to be seen again. And kind of stuff sticks around. You know, there's that paradox of human life. You know, it's, you know, last time I saw you guys last week, whenever it was, am I seeing the same people now? Kinda, kinda not, right?
Yeah.
You know, the famous thing from Heraclitus, the same man cannot step into the same river twice, right? So right away, this the world of flux, world of change. Everything passes on and everything remains, but our lot is to pass on, right? Having said that, having said, okay, everything changes, but us, you know, our lot, our destiny is to pass on. We're not sticking around. We're moving. We're in motion. We're in motion. We can't stay in the same place. There is no same place. It's, you know, every moment it's new. But our lot is to go on making paths across the sea. And actually, this other translation of a part of this that we're going to look at in a few minutes, they use a different word, that wakes, like the wake behind a boat, which is probably better here. I mean, that gives a clearer idea of what I assume he's talking about. You know, the wake behind a boat. It's kind of like a path, but there's nothing in front of the boat. It's only what you leave behind you, and the moment you leave it, it's already disappearing. That's us. That's all our activity, all our interactions, everything we're doing in this world. That's our wake, disappearing the moment it's made. I never sought glory, nor to leave my song in the memory of man. Right? So you see the contrast between what he's saying here, you know, and what we have in the first stanza. I mean, it's backing it up, but it's you know, the point is that if you're seeking glory, if you're seeking to leave your song in the memory of man, if you like, oh, I want my poetry to live forever. And there's a tendency for all of us to I want to leave my mark. I want people to read my books after I'm gone. I want people to know that I was here, right? To read my poems, to marvel at the building that I designed, you know, whatever it is. That's a very human thing.
Mhm.
But look, here's Machado renouncing that. I don't need that. I never sought glory, nor to leave my song in the memory of man. And then a semicolon. You know, when you get a semicolon, it means that whatever comes after it is now going to be in some kind of equipoise with whatever comes before it. You know, it's like, here's this thing in this pan, you know, like the old balance scales, this pan, now what goes in this pan? I love those subtle worlds, weightless and graceful as bubbles of soap. I suspect here, Lilian, I suspect the translator got a little too literal. You know, English translation probably would be soap bubbles, right? Soap bubbles, you know, like the bubbles that kids blow. So yeah, I don't care about immortality. I don't care about people reading what I read, what I've written here. I'm just too busy having my mind blown by the amazingness of creation. That it's that and the temporality of it, and the fact that if you're really experiencing the marvel of it, it's constantly it's all like soap bubbles. Right? And then we get more about the soap bubbles in the next stanza. I like to watch as they paint themselves in sunlight and scarlet, floating beneath the blue sky, trembling, then suddenly, then popping. Right? Every moment, it's all soap bubbles. It's really beautiful. I never sought glory. And then we switch to this whole other image. Traveler, your footprints are the path and nothing more. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. Right? You hearing that? You getting that? The path is made. I think if you really get this, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. No one has ever, wherever you step, no one has ever stepped there before, right? Right now, no one has ever sat in the spot that you're sitting, heard this clap in this moment, right? In digesting the food you're digesting right now, whatever is going on in the background of your mind and your feelings and all that, every moment of experience is unprecedented in the whole history of the universe. Never happened before, will never happen again. And disappearing the very moment that it experiences, that it's experienced, popping like a soap bubble. Right? I think he's saying something like that, but of course he's saying it much more beautifully because he's a poet. Traveler, your footprints. So there is no path, right? A path, it would be something that's worn. The path is where, think about how paths, how streets begin. Every street, you see a busy street like, Lincoln Boulevard out here. These things all started with, a lot of these things started with like as a deer path, right? And animal paths, and then, through the woods and the brush and so forth. And then humans started following them. And then, when we started clearing them away to make it easier to ride on our horses and then on our wagons. And then we started paving them for, you know what, actually, the big movement to start having paved streets in this country, you know what motivated it? Bicycles. There was this big bicycle craze in the late 19th century, and that put the pressure on the local governments to start paving roads, and then that was just in time for automobiles to come along, right? So, but the point here is that where there's a road, a path, the whole point is that it's trodden, it's been trodden before. But in every moment, if you pay attention, you see in every moment you're treading where no one has tread before. There is no path. Your footprints are the path, right? And your footprints, of course, are like the wake of the boat. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. By walking, the path is made. And when you look back, you'll see a road never to be trodden again. Traveler, there is no path, only trails across the sea. And then he shifts gears a little bit again. Some time passed in that place where today the forests are dressed in barbs. Interesting, where today the forests are dressed in barbs. In other words, where it's like become overgrown again. Where there appeared to be some kind of path for a little while, right? Some time passed in that place where today the forests are dressed in barbs. A poet was heard to cry, traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking, right? So we're looking at it from the other end now. Some place where someone was walking, someone saw this, saw the temporality of everything. But of course now he's brought in the idea of the poet, the one who observes this miraculous universe of soap bubbles, and doesn't just observe, but tries to capture it in words, beat by beat, verse by verse, right? And he's already said, I don't need my poem to be, engraved in stone. I don't need people to, I don't want glory. But here's the work of the poet, beat by beat, verse by verse, documenting, testifying to those moments of miraculous experience. The poet died far from home. He lies beneath the dust of a neighboring land. Some of this, a little bit of this is autobiographical, like Rilke, Machado did a fair amount of traveling. He had a wife for a while who was, like the love of his life, inspired a lot of his poetry, and they were traveling in some other city and she got tuberculosis and died. So, this is not just being imagined. The poet died far from home. He lies beneath the dust of a neighboring land. As he walked away, he was seen to weep. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. Beat by beat, verse by verse. When the goldfinch cannot sing, when the poet is a pilgrim, when prayer will do us no good. Now, these three things, right? We've shifted gears yet again. What's the mood? What's the commonality of these three things? When the goldfinch cannot sing, right? These are not happy images, right? This is when things get bleak. When the poet is a pilgrim, and again, I don't know what Spanish word is being used here, but the mood certainly seems to be, when you're dislocated, you're away from home, you're on the path, you're let's not say on the path, that's confusing in this context. When you're a seeker, you're not just relaxed sitting at home, you're like trying to find your way to, a pilgrim, someone's trying to find their way to the good stuff, to the sacred. When prayer will do us no good. Okay, that's strong, right? That's strong, right? Right. So this is like when our faith has deserted us, right?
Well, also it's the idea of seeking outside of self, trying to get somebody else to do it for me.
Yeah, like, right. So, yeah, so thank you, Judy. Again, that particularly, I think, connects with this idea of the poet being a pilgrim. It's like, okay, if I can get to the shrine, if I can get to that's where the juicy stuff is. That's where the good, and in a sense, that's what we're all doing all the time.
Instead of going inside to the heart.
Instead of going inside to the heart, and instead of going inside to the moment, the soap bubble moment, and appreciating what it is. It's the shrine, the pilgrim headed for the shrine is like the donkey heading for the carrot. You never catch it because the future is always ahead of us, right?
The original is exact. This is a literal translation.
Oh, you got it.
It's exact.
So, say it again, Lilian. You just said.
Cuando el poeta es un peregrino. That's the original.
Pellegrino?
Peregrino.
Peregrino. Right. Oh, yeah. We have that. That's a fancy word. In English is a fancy word. Peregrinations means wanderings. Yep. Good. Thank you. Yeah. When prayer will do us no good. What good luck to get to the place where prayer will do us no good. Right? I mean, and Judy, you really helped me understand that just now, that, where, because it means that we're no longer looking for, God, in the sky or someone else to solve our problems, to bring us the blessing. So when all those things are exhausted, when you can't sing like a goldfinch, when you're stuck in your wanderings, when you feel the prayer is not working anymore, then what? Then, traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. We're sent. This sends us back, I think, is the sense I get of it. Sends us back into, okay, this is what's left to us when even our prayers have deserted us, when even our faith has deserted us. The being in the moment, being pathless.
But being also present to the moment.
Yes.
Instead of
absent. The opposite of present, absent. Yeah. Right. And it's so interesting that in a lot of like Buddhist poetry, this idea of pathlessness is there. There's a famous haiku, I think we probably read it many weeks ago, about the waterfowl, chasing the waves, and they don't follow a path, they don't leave a path. right? And that's the same idea. You know, the waterfowl, of course, is us. The waterfowl is life. We're just right there on the rim of, and you know, if you live here in Santa Monica, you could see this all the time. With the, you know, as right at the where the water sloshes onto the beach and comes up with the waves and goes back, and then all the little water birds, and they're chasing the little shrimps or whatever they are, and then they run back, and there's no path. They're just, you know, beat by beat, verse by verse. I want to look at okay. Okay, so here's this one piece of it I was able to find here with the Spanish original. All right, so traveler, your footprints are the only road, nothing else. Traveler, right? Okay, caminante, traveler. Son tus huellos al camino y nada más. And then this key line. Traveler, there is no road. You make your own path as you walk. Caminante, no hay camino. Se hace camino al andar. Now, right here, you can see this key thing that we lose in the English, right? And this is kind of the whole core of the poem, you know, musically. Caminante, no hay camino, right? Traveler, there's no road. But in Spanish, see, both of the words have the same root, right? In English, that doesn't work. You know, there's an old saying, poetry is that which is lost in translation. This is an excellent example. Caminante, no hay camino, right? We'd have to say, you know, path goer, there is no path. Roadie, there is no road. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, in some, partly because English has such a hodgepodge of sources, it makes English very rich, that some words we get from Old French, and some words we get from Greek, some we get from Latin. Our biggest bunch we get from, you know, the Germanic, Anglo-Saxon. But then sometimes this stuff doesn't match up, like here. You make your own path as you walk. Se hace camino al andar. It's so much more beautiful in Spanish. Se hace camino al andar. You make your own path as you walk.
Also, the andar, Dean, gives you the idea, it's not just walking, and that is to move along. And that you can go, and that is used to go on a bicycle, or it's the idea of moving along.
Right.
It's not just walking.
Right.
There's a movement in that word that goes towards the future.
Yeah. Animation. Which we motate, as we say, motating along.
It's like it also replaces riding, like riding a bicycle, riding a horse. But the idea,
right?
You say it in English, but the idea is to go forward.
So it'd be like what, andar al caballo?
Andar a caballo, exactly.
Yeah.
Andar en bicicleta, andar a caballo, andar en el camino.
Right. Right.
It's just go.
To go by bike, go by horse, and then if we say go by default, I guess you're going by foot.
Yeah, and so he really points at the fact that as we go, we create.
Yeah.
You know, that we are the creators of that.
Yeah.
Go, whatever it is, the experience going.
Yeah. And it's so key and so beautiful The music of it's so beautiful. Notice he says it twice. He says it forwards and backwards.
Mhm.
No hay camino, se hace camino al andar se hace el camino. Right? We make the road as we go we make the road.
The road is being made.
Is being, oh yeah, it puts it in passive voice, right? Se hace, the road is being made, yeah. The road is made as we walk, the road is made, yeah.
Have you heard the song that was made with this?
No.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. It was, the music was made by John Manuel Serrat, a Catalan poet of my generation. I saw him personally.
Wow.
Very easy to find. I listen to it constantly on YouTube.
Oh.
I'd like to finish today's meeting with that. I can look it up and just, you could play it.
Yeah. Let's do that in just in a minute here. Yeah.
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 Because he is a gifted person. And just to listen to this, you might even want to sing it because it's just like,
oh, you got me.
Totally, touching to hear this sung. I mean, the poem is in itself transforming. And when you sing it, it's like, wow.
Oh my God. Oh.
I'll look for it right now.
Liliana, I'm so happy you were here today. Okay, while you're doing that, I want to read one more by Machado, which I don't have on the screen. It's don't go running and getting this book because it's just 3 lines long. But if you've got this book, you can look it up later. Between living and dreaming, there is a third thing. Guess it. Otra vez. Once again. Between living and dreaming, there is a third thing. Guess it. You hearing that? Do we need to unpack that, or is it self-explanatory to the Dharma dogs? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How is Spanish? Can you read it in Spanish?
I don't have the Spanish for it. But I would imagine desde el viviendo y los sueños hay una cosa tercera, something like that. We'll ask Liliana, the real Spanish speaker. But can you hear how that just is like a haiku? It's actually like a koan. And again, as far as I know, he didn't have actual contact with that whole culture of the koan and haiku, but it's just like in a way it's so much more exciting when it's been independently discovered here in another part of the world. So much that same spirit, that same way in. You know what? There's one more in the book by Machado, which I'll read, which is lovely. In English only. In our souls, everything moves, guided by a mysterious hand. We know nothing of our own souls that are understandable and say nothing. The deepest words of the wise man teach us the same as the whistle of the wind when it blows, or the sound of the water when it is flowing. All right. Yep. How we doing, Liliana? Did you find it?
I just sent you the link. Yes, you could play it. You share your screen.
Fantastic. Okay. Ah. Okay, everyone seeing hands on a keyboard?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You're hearing that? Are you hearing the piano? No.
No, we can't hear it.
Okay.
You want it?
Hang
Go
on.
ahead.
There's a. I have to adjust the setting on that. No, that's not gonna help. That's just gonna make it more
If you
complicated.
take off your
Yeah.
this, if you just play it in your computer, it may go through. That's how I solve that.
Yeah, there is a setting where you choose the option
But I never find it either.
so that when you share the screen, it also shares the audio, but I'm not finding that option there.
Well, try it like this now without the headset, just in case.
Okay.
You unplug the headset, right?
Yes.
Todo pasa y todo queda,
And here,
nuestro
You got it
es
now?
pasar, pasar haciendo camino sobre la mar. Nunca perseguí la gloria, ni dejar en la memoria de los hombres mi canción. Llevamos los mundos sutiles, ingrávidos y gentiles, como pompas de jabón. Me gusta verlos pintarse de sol y grana volar, bajo el cielo azul temblar, súbitamente y quebrarse. Nunca perseguí la gloria. Caminantes son tus huellas el camino, y nada más. Caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Al andar se hace camino y al volver la vista atrás, se ve la senda que nunca se ha de volver a pisar. Caminante no hay camino, sino estelas en la mar. Y hace algún tiempo en ese lugar, donde hoy los bosques se visten de espino, se oyó la voz de un poeta gritar: caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar, golpe a golpe y verso a verso. Murió el poeta lejos del hogar, que cubre el polvo de un país vecino. Al alejarse me vieron llorar. Caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar, golpe a golpe y verso a verso. Cuando el jilguero no puede cantar, cuando el poeta es un peregrino, cuando de nada nos sirve rezar, caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar, golpe a golpe y verso a verso y golpe a golpe, verso a verso y golpe a golpe, verso a verso.
Oh, wow.
Sure. Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Wow. That's fantastic. Thank you, Liliana.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Welcome. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, you are.
I think the force of it, he really gets the idea of that,
Yeah.
what Machado wants to convey, and he goes for it. Like that.
The word for beat there is golpe.
Golpe a golpe.
Golpe.
It's actually, yeah, it's more like with the machete, you know, like with the, when you go like, like opening up your path in a way. That's the golpe a golpe. That's, I mean, that's my understanding of it, but that's what, yeah, that's,
that makes sense. Yeah.
you open your way in the,
It's like cut after cut.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, verso y verso.
With every cut and every verse of the poem,
Yeah.
you're making the road.
You're making your path. You're leaving your wake across
You're on that, exactly. And I totally agree with what you said about the translation.
Yeah.
The wake is a much better translation, but it may not be so clear to other people. Perhaps that's why the translator chose that.
No. Yeah, translation is tricky. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Liliana. Thank you all. So good to see you as always. This is so much fun.
Yeah. And such a delight to be with you as it's happening. That new
Thank you.
site works better.
Bye.
God
Yeah.
bless.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Everyone stay healthy.
You
You
too.
Cheers.
You too.